back with the Evan Ginsburg Show at VillageConnectionRadio.com. Jim Savaglio, owner and engineer at the helm. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Happy Father's Day, Jim.
Thanks, brother. Thank you very much.
You have like 2 generations of kids.
I do.
Tell us about that. That's not easy.
Well, I have a 29-year-old daughter who just got engaged.
Nice.
A 25-year-old son, and a 2.5-year-old daughter.
Yeah, that's not easy. Not
It's
easy.
Great. It's great.
Okay. And
My daughter has a ring bearer now for her wedding.
okay.
I got that covered.
And is the husband of the daughter ever worthy?
I like Chris. That's her fiance.
Okay.
He's good.
I hear some reservations.
Nope,
No?
no?
Okay.
I think she did very well.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Putting him on the spot. So,
Tell you the truth after the show. No.
yeah. Yeah. And Ace Andrews is in the house.
Hi, Evan.
Ace is in the place. And you have
Ace is in the place.
That's right. That's right. You have a big show this Saturday night at the legendary Elks Lodge.
Yep.
And, man, there's a lot of history in that building.
There it is, yeah.
And tell us about NEW.
Oh, it's our third NEW show. I was on the original one. I wasn't even scheduled to be on that one. And the promoter was like, I like this guy. I want to bring you back. And then I wrestled Grim Reaper. I went through a table. That was a lot of fun. And now I have the opportunity to wrestle Andrew Anderson and the Tokyo Monster. And it's just like, I've always wanted to work Anderson. He's from the old school indie era. So I just want to be in there, just learn and just soak as much as I can and put on a good show, most importantly. Tokyo Monster, it's gonna be interesting.
So these are some big, powerful guys. I always say with Andrew Anderson, when he walks down the street, everybody goes, "That guy's a wrestler." He looks the part.
He is. Yeah.
He looks the part.
We miss
you. You could pass for a college professor, no, which is nothing wrong with that.
No, of course.
Yeah.
But that's what we're missing now in the indie scene anyway. Guys that look like wrestlers. Guys are like, you know what? Like, yeah, that guy could be a wrestler. Side plug, today is also Joey Ace's birthday. I don't know if anyone knows him.
I know Joey Ace.
So today's his birthday. Happy birthday, Joey. That's a guy. I'm like, this guy looks like a wrestler. This guy acts like a wrestler. This guy's a professional wrestler. And he's all about his business. And so that's what the indie scene needs more of.
Chris Michaels does the whole spiel. Chris Michaels is 58 years old. He looks like Superman, and he's still wrestling. And he's like, get in the gym, get rid of the kick pads, get some real gear. He does the. I can do his spiel because he does the same thing every time he's on here.
What else, Chris?
Yeah. But there's some truth to it. Every once in a while, I'm at a gimmick table, and I think it's a kid, but it's a wrestler.
Oh
no,
man.
seriously.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah, it's indie wrestling 2019. Like, what can I say?
I mean, I'm an old guy, but I'm 6'2", 210. So some of these guys, I look more like a wrestler than some of the wrestlers sometimes.
Shouldn't be able to take you. I know. Yeah.
No, seriously.
Some guys are learning. So how do I put it? I wasn't in the best shape when I first started wrestling, so I can't really say. I can speak from their point of view, of course, but everything that Michael says is correct. Go in the gym, take care of your body, take care of your cardio, make sure your work is straight, make sure your work is smooth and good. That's the most important thing. Like, people should be at awe when they look at you being a wrestler. Especially if you're going to be in that ring and you're going to be doing all this physical activity. You got to look the part. And you got to act the part itself, too. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what else is on the big show Saturday night? I know Robert Saint's the promoter.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's so I'm really looking forward, actually, besides my match, of course, or whatever, the 6-man tag match. It's Zemis, Nick Curry, JD Alpha, who's a really good friend of mine, and he's going up against Mantis, and I'm forgetting the other 2 guys, but it's a packed match, and I'm like, geez, NEW has a really good card. And that's just there's my match, and then there's that 6-man tag match. I'm like, what else do you guys need? You know, and of course Rage is going to be on the show, and I think he's tagging with Casey Lycan, who is up and coming, and he's working his ass off.
And speaking of old school, Nick Curry's grandfather is Wild Bill Curry, one of the true legends.
I didn't even know about that till like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, this guy has real lineage, and a great technician, and he's serious. He's serious, yeah.
I've seen Nick Curry's work, and I'm like, he'd be like, me and him would have like a very interesting match. Like, I'm not the best technical wrestler, but that's not my style. It's just I'm gonna, if I work heel, my job is to make Nick look good. So I'll let him get over all the things that he wants to do, whatever. He'll get over his technical stuff or whatever, and my job is just cut him down, get booed, and then whatever he does to get over, he'll just do it, and I bump for him, and that's that. You know?
There you go.
Me and him would have, I think, it'd be a very interesting match.
And Nick Curry, Fred Curry, Wild Bill Curry. It's almost like the Ortons. You got Randy Orton, Bob Orton Jr., and then you got Bob Orton Sr., who was a big star, headlined the Garden. People don't realize Orton's 3 generations also. So
and they're all good wrestlers.
Yeah, when you have it in your blood, it's a good place to start. The DNA is there, and I told Nick to come on the show one day, so maybe we'll work that out. But so tell us about some highlights of your career.
Highlights of my career.
I saw you in a real bloody match at the Elks Lodge, I believe it was.
Yeah. That was BCW. That was me versus Alvin Alvarez.
That's right. Yeah. He's a big boy.
He's like that guy. I'm so impressed by him. Like, every time I see him in the ring, how smooth he is, how fast he is for a big guy too. So when I first wrestled him, in like the first 2 minutes, we had it was a freak accident. Just, I'm so tall, of course. Like, he's shorter. So he collided into my chin. I split my chin.
Wow.
I'm bleeding out of my chin. And he cut his eye.
And your mom was in the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of emotional. Yeah.
It was. She's like, oh, he's okay. He's okay. He just hit me with the belly to belly. I'm getting pinned. He's like, you're okay? I'm like, yeah. And then the ref comes up to me and says, you guys got to take her home. And we're both like, no. Like, we just kept going. That was supposed to be a one-off. It wasn't supposed to turn into the series that led to like the big show, whatever. At the end of that first match, the crowd was like, just, both these guys clapping and all this stuff. Like, we've earned their respect.
There you go. And you had a return match, and I enjoyed it. I'm jaded, and I enjoyed it. I've seen the best of the best forever. So there are times I go to indie shows where I'm just numb. I'm numb.
Yeah, I know.
There's 17 matches and 2,000 high spots, and so if I'm sitting there and I'm emotionally involved in a match, it means something.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I get very tired of the old school fans who just wax nostalgic 24/7 and do there's been no good wrestling since the territories, when there's good wrestling constantly in 2019. I think it's a golden age. You could sit in your living room and watch New Japan live.
Yep.
You could watch Okada and Naito and Jericho and all, it's amazing. And, now AEW has momentum, and Ring of Honor just headlined the Garden, and AAA is coming into the Garden in September.
Yeah.
You barely hear people mention that, but that's a big deal. And so when the old school guys are like, "There's been nothing good since 1985," I'm like, "Shut up!"
Yeah, there's good wrestling everywhere. You just gotta look.
Even on your local indie cards, somebody's going to stand out. I'll sit there and go, that guy's going to be a star.
Yeah.
You just see it. Like, even though it's early, you just see it. And I remember a few years back, Bray Wyatt was down at the Elks Lodge, and I forget what his indie name was. But it was very emotional. He was just about to go to WWE,
really?
and everybody was giving him like a big emotional send-off.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was an indie wrestler before.
Yeah. Randy Orton's one of the few guys that went like straight to WWE, bypassed everything. Yeah, he was right here in Queens, and you just watch this guy and you go, this guy's special. He's gonna make it.
I thought because of his family background, he was gonna be like Orton. He would go straight to like developmental and do
He
FCW
worked. He
and all
worked
that.
indies. Yeah.
Good for him. Wow.
Yeah. And a lot of guys like Chris Jericho really did it right. They worked Japan, they worked Mexico, they worked everywhere. So they have this hybrid style where it's always going to work.
That man is beyond talented.
Yeah, he's pushing 50 and he's still having great matches. And,
And he has a good look. And he has a good look, too.
Yeah. And fans are almost spoiled. They're like, well, the last match he had with Omega wasn't as good as the previous match. I'm like, dude, the guy's pushing 50. He's having 4-star matches. Give him credit,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I did like that match. Actually, I like this one was better. The AEW match over the New Japan one, actually.
Yeah, I think it's a little ridiculous that people are already burying WWE. AEW is going to put them out of business. No, they may siphon off some of their viewers because basically you got WWE that's old and tired at this point, and AEW is hot and new. But that doesn't mean you're going to put $1 billion corporation out of business.
Right, I agree. They're gonna do more of the entertainments. They're gonna do the 24/7 hardcore whatever. They're gonna do all the fun gimmick stuff or whatever. But if you're a big wrestling fan and you like wrestling, you'll watch AEW, you watch New Japan, or you go to your local indie show and support independent wrestling.
I do all of it, and I belong to Ring of Honor Club. I subscribe to New Japan World. I no longer subscribe to WWE Network. I just find some of the pay-per-views stultifying.
Not even NXT keep you?
I like the takeovers. I think the takeovers are excellent. But that's 6 times a year.
You're right.
The Triple H is a genius. Crockett Promotions in the 80s would have 6 great shows a week, not 6 great shows a year. Right. Their house shows are good or very good. Mm-hmm. Their TV is good or very good. But that doesn't make sense. The word genius is cheapened today. They just throw it around. Besides the fact that if you really break it down, a lot of guys in NXT were weaned in ROH, weaned in other places.
In the Indies.
Yeah, so in the Indies. So it wasn't Triple H creating these stars. They were packaged and made already. Adam Cole was out there 10 years, Roderick Strong,
doing
all
the same
these
thing.
guys.
Is there a guy that you could say that, Triple H made? Tyler Breeze?
Hard to say. I don't know offhand.
I'm trying to think.
Velveteen Dream can't be around that long. He's so young. He's great.
You know what? You're right. I think Dream. Probably, even though he was an indie wrestler, but he wasn't like crazy over or whatever. But like, you might be right. Velveteen Dream.
I just wish you have one of the greatest talent bases in history in WWE. The talent is off the charts.
Oh, yeah.
Why squander it? You watch a 3-hour Raw, and there's maybe 20 minutes of quality wrestling. It's stilted, scripted promos. It's comedy that isn't funny. This is a new genre, comedy that isn't funny, okay? So why don't you just let these guys wrestle? If I were booking it, it would be so simple. I'd be like, hey, AJ and KO, go out and put on a 30-minute, 4-star match.
So
yeah,
weird.
why overbook it? You got all this great talent.
You're right. You know what? It's just, that's where we're all like this. We're all hands up in the air, just like, why is this happening? Why not just go do your thing? That's what they do in NXT.
Yeah.
It's like 80% wrestling, 20% everything else.
They have 5 matches, very little talk, and they just go out and put on killer matches.
Yeah, that's it.
If every WWE show was like an NXT takeover, I'd watch it religiously.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost schizophrenic when you think about it. That the same one that did that horrific Saudi pay-per-view also does the takeovers.
Right.
I mean, there wasn't one 3-star match on that Saudi pay-per-view.
Not at all. I didn't even watch it. I didn't. The last WWE show I saw was actually WrestleMania, only because I was there. Other than that, I can't watch it. Nothing makes sense. And even as an independent wrestler, I'm insulted as I watch it. I'm like, I'm not dumb. Like, I know what's going on here, and it's not even about like, wrestling is it's not real, and just like timeline wise, like Nothing makes sense.
Right.
Nothing.
And they'll turn somebody on a whim. The best example was Big Show. This guy, he turned like 35 times. Where
Yeah.
it doesn't matter anymore. Just doesn't matter. But I when I watch WWE, I just sit there aggravated. It's almost like anti-entertainment. You know? Although a few months back you had Seth Rollins and AJ Styles put on a tremendous match. Tremendous.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I heard.
So AJ Styles is an artist, and luckily they didn't bury him. But when you see somebody even like EC3, who should be a star, who's not even being booked, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it.
So I mean, I don't want to talk about like EC3. Like he's an example, but he's not the example I want to use. He's an okay wrestler.
Yeah, he's not the greatest wrestler, but to not use him, that's pointless.
But now here's the other thing too. I say he's an okay. He might actually be an okay wrestler if they let him wrestle. I thought Drew McIntyre in his first run, I was like, oh, this guy, he's not really good at wrestling. This is when I was a mark. I wasn't a wrestler or whatever. Then he put on this killer match with Tyson Kidd. I'm like, oh, this guy can go. And I was a Drew McIntyre
is excellent.
Oh, yeah.
But, WWE has this, whatever they refer to, 50-50 booking. One day the guy wins, one day the guy loses, one day he wins. I mean, you can't just have Dolph Ziggler lose 500 matches and all of a sudden he's the number one contender and you're supposed to be emotionally involved. Any entertainment, you have to care. For example, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. The fans are going to care. Mm-hmm. Okay. The Super Bowl, the NBA playoffs. Yep. There's an emotional involvement. If Kofi Kingston wrestles Dolph Ziggler, do you really care? I mean, there's no emotional involvement. No.
What about Kofi Kingston versus Brock Lesnar?
Well, then at least you have the David versus Goliath thing, and maybe you're rooting for the smaller guy, the underdog thing. I could see that, but when Dustin and Cody wrestled, there was emotion. There was real feeling to it, and it was dramatic, and it wasn't just the blood. I mean, I've seen plenty of bloody matches, but. You cared. It was an art.
It was about
that was the best match I saw either of those guys in ever.
I saw that. I liked it. I was like, I totally agree with this.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have we seen these guys over the years? Nothing touched that.
Nothing.
So what does that tell you? It tells you that they're being presented in a cartoonish way or in a way that, it just doesn't stir the emotion. Any movie critics will tell you, if you could walk out in the middle of the movie, or you could turn it off on your TV in the middle, you're not emotionally involved.
Right.
So you need to care. And that's why I tell indie promoters, don't do the posters with 35 guys on it where you don't say what the main event is or the co-feature. Because why am I going to care?
Right.
What's the main event? Why am I going to this place? Yep. Why am I picking this indie event over the 6 others the same night?
That's right. That's true. It's true. I had a really good point, and then I just went blank all of a sudden.
That's okay.
But it was about that as well. Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
Jon Moxley left WWE to be what? Because he wanted to be an artist.
Yeah.
Because he wanted. That's the direction of AEW. This is what they want to do. That match with Cody and Dustin, that said a lot.
Yeah.
This is their preference. Or what they want to show to the viewers. And that's why Moxley left. He was like, I want to be part of this. I want to be part of this movement. He wants to... Did you hear the Jericho podcast?
Yeah. He was very honest. And look, it's like any job. You want to be respected. You want some degree of autonomy where you can do what you want to do. And everything can't be scripted and written out for you. Right. In the old days, the wrestlers, WWF, would go into the studio and they would go, July 1st, you're wrestling Bruno Sammartino, Philadelphia Spectrum. They just improv the promos. Yeah. One after another all day. Now it's all scripted, wooden, robotic. Yeah. And a guy like that, he's a creative guy. After a while, you have money. It's not about the money.
Yeah.
It's about the art. And you say to yourself, the clock is ticking. what is he, 35, 6, 7? He's not a kid anymore.
Yeah, no, I think he's like 33, 34, something like
Yeah,
that.
whatever,
he's
in
there.
that range.
He's
Yeah.
like, he has.
So you're in your mid-30s and the clock is ticking and there's only so many bumps, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's saying, let me create art.
Yeah.
Let me create art.
And he's special. A guy like him, like we all thought when the Shield formed, like once the Shield formed, we're like, oh, when they break up, this guy's gonna be this or whatever, right? We all thought Dean Ambrose was like, this guy's gonna be like the biggest heel in the company in a long time, and that never happened. It's just he's so kooky.
Yeah.
That's what they made him look like.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, now he's here and he's like, this is Deathmatch John.
Yeah, you see, there's that line, and he went from, the Shield were rough. I mean, these guys, that was great tag team, and then, as a singles wrestler, he was being pushed through the roof. But after a while, it got cartoonish, and it crosses the line where you just don't take him as seriously.
Right.
And I'm sure he felt that, and I think it was a good move. He's going to make good money, reduce schedule, and do it the way he wants to do it. So in our next segment, we're going to bring on Mr. Big, and later in the show, Super Nitro. Plug anything you want to plug.
Okay. So for now, on Instagram, it's Ace Andrews Inc. And on Facebook, you just find me as Andrew Silvera. That's my my regular shoot name. I don't play wrestler. My real name is Andrew Silvera, and my wrestling name is Ace Andrews, but same guy. So.
There you go. And a couple of quick plugs. IWW debuts in Queens June 29th at Martin Luther High School, 6002 Maspeth Avenue. And we're going to have some of the stars of IWW on here next week. I make my debut in the Gorilla Position, the website, the Gorilla Position. And you can check that out. That's coming out today or tomorrow. Monty and the Pharaoh, every Thursday night, 8:05, our wrestling show here at Village Connection. Check out my articles on pro wrestling stories and support SWF Wrestling as well, our sponsor. They're running basically every weekend out in Jersey. SWF every weekend. These guys are out with the posters, the flyers, old school.
Yep.
That's something some of these promoters should consider. NEW is going to pack the place again next weekend, but not every promotion does. And I've sat at wrestling shows where there was one paid customer.
What?
One out in Jersey. One. So I've sat at many wrestling shows where the wrestlers outnumber the fans. There's a building full of appreciative empty seats.
Oh my God.
So how about the old legends? When we would roll into town, I'd have Johnny or Nikolai or Lanny Poffo or whoever with me. They'd be like, "Where's the posters? Where's the posters?"
Yeah.
Like you put them in the ice cream store, the pizza place, the the ice cream shop, whatever. Old school works.
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just the pretty website, the social media.
Yeah. No.
We're promoting 350 Days. It's been out for several months now. Mm-hmm. We open in Australia tomorrow on iTunes, and there are still fans that don't know about it. You just have to relentlessly promote any which way you can. Mm-hmm. It's not just a website.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Anyway, when we come back, Mr. Big joins the conversation. Later, Super Nitro, if he finds his way here. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk more wrestling, the Evan Ginsburg Show, with Ace Andrews, and joining us, Mr. Big. We'll be right back.
Say, you're Bobby Rivers, right? Bobby barely registers and nods while he looks around for women. I love how you beat Willie Dean tonight. I hate that guy. Bobby looks at the bar and sees Willie Dean talking to two girls. Hey, Chris, kayfabe. He looks at the fan. Sorry, man, we stay here. There's going to be a fight. You know what I mean? Let's go, Chris. Chris asks, why didn't we stay? There wasn't going to be any fight. Listen, brother. Bert Ironside's rule number 1. Baby faces and heels do not socialize. Why? It's all about protecting the business. You don't tell your 5-year-old that there's no Santa Claus, and Faces and Heels do not sit in a bar full of marks drinking together. Kings of the Ring is the first audio drama podcast based on wrestling. Search Kings of the Ring from any podcast app or kingsotr.com.
All right, we are back with the Evan Ginsburg Show at Village Connection Radio. We are celebrating Mr. Big's birthday as he mics himself.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. It's funny. You just off camera, you said, every time you get to another birthday, you cringe. What kind of schmuck are you?
Yeah.
I would cringe
I'm an old schmuck.
I would cringe if I knew I wasn't getting another birthday.
Yeah. Is the glass half full or half empty? Yeah, you're looking at it positively.
All kidding aside, though, when you say that, it depends on if you're taking something out of it or if you're filling it. If you're filling it, it's half full.
Yeah.
If you're drinking something out of it, if you think it's half empty. And it's only temporary. So whatever it is, that situation is only temporary. What are you laughing at?
It's a good joke.
You know,
I'm going to steal
he's
that.
lucky I didn't come in here. You see, I'm kayfabe all the way. You fucking tell him this, that. I should have come in here. I should have done a run-in on you, laid some forearms on you, and left you there in the corner. And I'm being nice because it's Evan's show. We're good friends. I'm good friends with Jim Savali. The studio's nice. He fixed it nice. And one day he's going to put air conditioning in.
Yeah.
All right, I'm wearing a jacket because
and water.
I want to be polite to my friend Mr. Ginsburg. But normally, this place I'd be wearing, a bathing suit. It's fucking hot in here, Jim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it would be nice if I had some ice water waiting in the refrigerator for me when I got here. God damn it.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to real talk, I should have come in here and smacked the shit out of you.
But you didn't.
But then I realized every time you stand up, you're taller than me.
Yeah.
So I go, all right, maybe I shouldn't. And remember, this is a gimmick here I've had for years. I'm a wrestling manager. That's what I do. I'm not licensed anymore.
Oh, okay.
To be a wrestler. You know why?
Why?
You don't want to know why.
Ooh.
Okay? And you're in big trouble, young man. All right, I respect you. I respect you that you're a professional wrestler, but you're in trouble because next Saturday, on the 22nd, the Elks Lodge on Queens Boulevard in Elmhurst, NEW, you're talking about it, you're yammering, Tokyo Monster Kahagas, and you should be shivering already, and the reinforcer Andrew Anderson, along with yours truly, the manager of champions, the champion of managers, the minister of Michigas, the rabbi of the ring. Yeah, that's me. I'm all of that. Okay, you're in deep trouble. And that starts with a capital T, which rhymes with B, which stands for big. Mr. Big.
Okay.
And if you think you're getting over on Kahagas and on Andrew, on the reinforcer, you and Big Cuzzo, you got a problem.
Yeah.
Which starts with a capital B. Excuse me, which starts with a capital P.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Spelling's tough at 11 a.m.
I'm like Don Baracco, you know what I mean, right now. Which starts with a capital P, which rhymes with B, which stands for Big, Mr. Big. You got it. That's how you talk on the camera. You're on a world-famous show. We've seen all over the world this show by thousands and thousands of people. You got to represent yourself. You're a well-spoken young man. You got a brain, although you didn't use it when you signed the contract.
Oh, no.
But I'm telling you, Evan, you see this match. I know you're a supporter of NEW. Okay, and I know there's a couple of companies out there, NEW, but we're the NEW. We're New Evolution.
Robert Saint is one of the handful of promoters I like.
He's good. He's got a good.
Most promoters I wouldn't piss on if they were on fire.
Right, no, me either. Although I would take their money.
Yeah.
Even a guy like we've been talking about before. I take his money. Okay, but only if he's paying me. Okay, that's what it's all about. You're gonna get crushed. You're gonna get humiliated. I personally am going to abuse, confuse, bruise, and contuse you.
Wow, that's
when
impressive.
I get the chance.
Made all that rhyme. Wow.
But I made all that rhyme. He could fuck up a wet dream, this kid. All right, listen to me. I know you're a little scared. I know. Me, I'm a formidable individual. I'm like by myself a dangerous person. But you put me with the reinforcer. And you give me Kahagas,
right,
who has finally agreed to become part of my team. I mean, they are the Far East Midwest Samurai. That's my name for them. See, I'm smart. I come up with these interesting names. That's cool, right? The Far East, because Andrew's
Makes
from
sense.
Minnesota,
Yeah.
and Kagas is from Japan. You got it, right?
I got
Okay.
it. Yeah. No.
Okay, we're gonna take you and Cuzzo, and you know that picture of you, held in Cuzzo's arms like a little baby. You know the picture I put out of you, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna be like. And again, I know I put this in writing. I'm a repetitive son of a bitch. I can't help it. But when I have something good to say, I gotta make sure I put it in writing and then I say it out in public. I'm gonna apologize to you now. You're a professional. I am. My boys are. Cuzzo's a professional. We all get paid.
Yep.
So as professionals, I'm gonna treat you like that. I don't want to apologize to you now, because when the massacre is done, you're going to be too oblivious to either see or hear an apology. So I put it in writing on the internet for you, and I'm telling you now, I apologize.
Awesome. Thank you. Apology accepted.
Fans, you're going to see a great freaking show, June 22nd. I know, it's all one big plug. Why do you think I'm here? I'm not here for my good looks. I'm not here for Evan's health. I'm not here to see Jim Savali. I saw him already. It's enough. Ganook is Ganook, like we say with him. I came to see Pam Roth earlier, by the way, looking good, like always. Yeah. And of course, I came to see you, my friend. How you doing?
I'm good for the most part.
The movie's doing good, I hear.
Yeah, top 20 in the world.
Fucking,
Yeah.
I keep saying, listen, fans, will you please tell Evan that I should be in one of his movies? I don't give a shit if I got to be the guy that's like sweeping the back locker room at the end of the movie. I don't care. I just want to be in one of his movies so I can say, hey, Evan Ginsburg produced me in a movie. All right,
there are few better talkers than you in the world. It would make
get
sense.
me in there. I promise. I'll read the script, or whatever they let me ad lib. I'll do. I'll keep it succinct, and I'll keep it sharp, and I'll give you what you need, because I look good on camera. Right? Don't I look good on it? Especially with my cheap ass pork pie hat. Yeah. So I had to go a little casual.
Charlie Mingus, pork pie hat.
Well, I got a guy who I've been bothering the shit out of it. Don't bother him. This guy Carmine Imofiliaco Narducci. He works for USA Pro Wrestling. You don't know about them yet. Nice. All right, but on September 7th, vicious plugs. I'm putting right? Yeah. We got a show at the NYWC Sportatorium. So even when I stutter, it don't matter, because people get it. Right? In Deer Park, you know what I'm talking about.
I've been there 500 times.
I know, and you love it. There's always a good show there, always. Let me tell you something. Currency and them boys, they put on good shows of their own, plus there's all these other companies that come in there. We're in the golden age of independent wrestling. Yeah. This is right now, we shining. The sun is shining on us, all of us, which is why I got this mook to be on the show, and I got this other mutt. He's really not a mutt. He's really actually a thoroughbred. Super Nitro, love this kid, and I'm
joining us the next segment.
And I'm not a supporter of the baby face, but this kid can't be anything but, because they love him. Mothers and fathers love him. Little kids love him. The women love him. The guys want to be him. They're all screaming Super Nitro. Amazing. I never heard Tony Biella, the Brooklyn Bulldog, who I call the Power Puppy since we fucked him up. Me and Lou Bruno just totally fucked him up. Put him in a hospital. Coming out to the wailing lamentation of his family, friends, and loved ones. Anyway, this guy Super Nitro is good. He is. I got to give him that. And when he comes on the show, I hope he can talk, because he's an intelligent guy, respectful and all that, and he knows to see it clear in me.
We're going to find out in the next segment.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, because he's, like I said, he's good. Yes. But the whole idea is that on September 7th, got a great show taking place. Yep. Okay, and I'm going to be doing more of my dirt, more of my stuff. But it's amazing how the fans are eating it up. As we said, golden age of wrestling.
There were like 400 people at the Elks Lodge for your last show.
Yeah, thereabouts. Yeah. You're talking about for New Evolution.
Yeah.
It's only because we couldn't put any more in there. There might have been a little more.
I mean, that's phenomenal for a promotion, early on.
And there's no posters put in store windows, but there are flyers handed out. It's done old school to an extent, but he didn't make up the big, I can call the cotton candy posters, the old pink, yellow, and blue. That's what you do it. You don't need pictures of wrestlers on there. Put names of a few guys on there. Build up the intrigue. Yep. Put the yellow, that carnival poster up in the window. People will look at it. Oh, wait, that's of interest. Well, maybe I see it. Maybe they'll recognize a name.
Absolutely.
They're not going to recognize. Think they're going to recognize this guy's face? Put his face on the poster. Who is he? Put his name on the poster. They still don't know, but it doesn't matter. You do it that way, and it's a mood.
I said before, as a fan, I want to know what's the main event, what's the co-feature.
Exactly right.
I'm not going to go just because there's indie wrestling. I want to know what I'm paying for.
New Evolution Wrestling, and I plug the hell out of them because I'm booking it with Robert. So, there's a reason it's as good as it is.
And don't forget to mention, It's a tribute to Pedro Morales.
And very importantly, J.L. Chico.
That's right.
I mean, it started out as a tribute to Pedro Morales because we are very big in the Latin American community. Very big. Matter of fact, half my family's Puerto Rican. Nobody would know it. Big Jew like me, but half my family, half my family's like Puerto Rican. Okay, so there's a big Spanish contingent. Is that how you say it? For New Evolution Wrestling, and we love it because they understand what wrestling is. They appreciate it. They're not looking to be in the know, and so I will know what that guy's. Who cares what we're doing? Don't worry about how we figure it out. Does it look like a real fight? Well, most of the time it is, and that's what it's supposed to be, a fight in the ring.
Yep.
Let me just say something about Pedro Morales. I grew up on Pedro and Bruno at the Garden, and when Pedro walked down the aisle, there was no blaring music, there was no pyro, there was no nothing, just charisma, and the building would shake. The building would shake. And the feeling with Pedro and Bruno, it was love. The fans loved them. And when Bruno lost Ivan Koloff, I wasn't there, but people told me this, they were stunned, they were silent, they were crying.
Yep.
They believed. So,
Those were the days.
So the last 20 years or so, when WWE just totally wrote Pedro out of their history, never mentioned him, nothing, I never quite understood that. So I think it's great that Robert Saint and you guys are paying tribute to him, because to me, this is one of the giants in the history of the business, and I don't understand why WWE just kind of
Because they can, because they have so much. Listen, if you have so many diamonds and jewels and precious stones and precious metals and all that, right? You go in, you open up the door and go, you got to. One don't mean anything to you. Yeah. Maybe only the one that caught your eye, and maybe that one didn't.
Let me take it. Let me take it to another place. When Backlund came in, and he was not the draw that Bruno was. The Intercontinental belt was created because guys like Pedro, who was two-time champion, and Pat Patterson, and DiBiase, and Morocco.
Wasn't Patterson the first one, the first Intercontinental champ?
These guys, many times the fans were there to see the Intercontinental Championship, even more so than the World Championship. So Pedro made money for them for a good decade or so.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy drew money, as we used to say.
Always did what he's supposed to do, in or out of the ring. The guy was a hero to so many people, just like Bruno was a hero.
And charisma off the charts.
They were the Mickey Mantle and Hank Aaron of the business.
Yeah. See, newer fans will say, punch, kick, very meat and potatoes, but the charisma was off the charts.
Right.
This guy could not do what an AJ Styles could do.
He didn't have to.
He didn't have to.
You got to read what Tito Santana said. He said, "You do next to nothing, but if you get emotion in the crowd, that's all you have to do. They'll go crazy. So extra bumps for what? You know what I mean? I'm going to let this guy hit me, or I'm going to let his partner hit me? No, I may get a little sneaky thing here or there if the ref don't see me, but the idea is to create."
Psychology,
something that
work
the people
crowd.
that see, and whatever's working, you continue to do it.
Yeah.
I always said, do what you do it well. The crowd will respond to it. I'm a talker, you know that.
Yeah. That's why we book you.
But I very rarely take the microphone out there at the show. It's crazy. You know why? Because I know how to pantomime. I told Tony Atlas, without a microphone, I told the crowd that I was telling Tony Atlas, just lay down. You're a hero. You're my hero. You're Slugger's hero. What do you got to be? What do you got to get hurt for? Yeah. And all he did in 20 seconds, with my hands and with my facial expressions, Tony heard what I was saying. He stood back, and I said, Tony, you were Mr. USA.
Is it true that he's 73?
Yes, it still works.
I saw him wrestle Chris Michaels. Chris is 50, going on 58, and Tony's 73, and they had a good match.
Now?
Yeah, a couple months ago.
What?
Yeah,
Tony Atlas still wrestles.
Tony Atlas still works. I worked.
Oh, wow.
I worked, and taking a shot and then, in the noggin from it. But I also put some knots on that big ball that is his. But he could take it and he could dish it out.
So we are at the halfway mark of the show. So why don't we take a quick break? Plug anything you want to plug, and when we come back, we're going to bring Super Nitro on.
Well, I want to plug USA Pro Wrestling because, Frank don't put out enough posts.
Yeah.
Just like you don't put enough I want to plug 350 Days because those poor guys don't get any publicity whatsoever. And The Wrestler, in case you want to go buy an old DVD, which is a very good movie. I should have been in that one also because all of my friends were in it and nobody fucking told me.
Yeah.
All right, but that's just a matter of being in the wrong place at the right time. Or the right. Speaking of which, our poor friend Dr. John gone,
Yeah, Dr. John, all right.
He was at the wrong place at the right time, I guess, But June 22nd, we know. New Evolution Wrestling. If you don't get there, you're stupid. You're plain stupid because it's easy to get to. It's an inexpensive show.
That's a good catchphrase. If you don't get there, you're stupid.
You're stupid. And if you can't, and you see, and I'm not, and I don't care. I don't care if you say, "Oh, Miss Big, fuck you." Good, fuck you back. I don't care. I got a great show going on. Robert Saint is a smart promoter. He was smart enough to get me in right away, and now the show is formed. I mean. You'll see. And we're bringing in Smiley, the Psycho Lucha, to USA Pro Wrestling. See, I got smart. I'm going to bring him into New Evolution Wrestling too. But that's the reason why I'm especially plugging. Because Smiley, the Psycho Lucha, to tie in the Latin American community, I'm bringing him into USA Pro Wrestling. See, I don't book for Frank. But the reason Jack Swagger's working for Frank is because I introduced him. I talked to Jack. I said, Jackie boy, listen.
He just had an MMA match.
Yeah, he's good. Jake is
won.
pretty.
Yeah.
And
Jake is pretty good. He's a good, and he's a respectful young man, like he portrays himself. But he can work. Can work. He's MMA, so he's legitimizing himself that he's a real fighter. And of course, you've seen him. He's a bona fide wrestler.
There's nothing more legit than getting in a cage and beating a guy.
No, and my friend Ken Sweeney, I got to plug my friend.
He's
Ken
MMA.
Sweeney. Everybody made fun of him in USA Pro Wrestling because it was Ken Sweeney versus the Masked Maniac, the 3000. And he fought Balls Mahoney for I can't tell you how many matches, firing at us and blowing fire.
I got a great Balls Mahoney story. He's wrestling on an indie in Jersey. He's covered in blood. He gets paid. He gets in the car and he drives off, covered in blood. He's on the highway like this.
Because if he didn't get home to Gail, she'd kick his ass. You think the wrestlers were tough? His wife, his late, his widow. She was tough. You got to be home, And
I'm looking at this. The guy just got in the car, covered in blood, and drove up.
His boy, his son. God bless John. Balls. This kid looks just like him. He looks just like him. I hope he gets his mother's, way of doing things instead of his father's, and is not such a wild boy, but good kid.
Yeah.
And she had a tough time for a while. You got to feel for a woman.
Very, very hard losing a father or mother when you're young. My dad died when I was 20. Not easy. And this kid was much younger than that.
My son lost his mother at 10. I was a single father from the time my son was 10. Wow. He's going to, by the way, it's Father's Day today, guys, in case we forgot.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day.
I mentioned that at the top.
All of you. Happy Father's Day to all of you out there, even the ones I don't like.
Yeah.
And to you deadbeat fathers, fuck you,
that's
scumbags.
Right. That's right.
Fuck you straight up. Every which way, fuck you. And the child molesters, fuck you even worse and even harder. Sorry, I didn't mean to get that way, but it's fun.
No. Let me add to that. When I was single, I dated a lot of single moms and a lot of deadbeat dads out there. Real dirtbags, really.
That to me is, listen, you want to fucking run, take care of your kid. Or don't put a kid on the planet. Don't give me the bullshit excuses. Oh, I told her that. Fuck you. You put your thing in there. You pulled it out. Not soon enough. Take responsibility for your actions.
Be better than a dog on the street.
I may be a heel, but I'm not a scumbag. There's the difference.
I'm glad you're saying that because I've lived this with these women have been to hell and back with these guys.
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend whose ex-husband would lock himself in the room when the kids came. Do you realize how much this traumatizes a kid? Literally would not come out. He wanted nothing to do with them. He's in the other room. They're visiting the grandmother. He lives with his mother, the loser. And he wouldn't come out of the room to say hi to little kids.
That's terrible.
I'm not talking 20-year-olds.
When a guy sticks around, listen, us fathers that stuck around and took care of it, like I said, I was a single father, from the time my kid was 10. But that don't make me a better person than anybody else. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So I'm no fucking hero. I don't deserve a pat on the back for being a father. You don't deserve, you know what I mean? Your father didn't deserve a pat. Yeah, he did. Your father was good, but he didn't deserve a pat on the back for doing that. You commend him because he was a good man. His job is to be a good father. And if he's not, then you've got to, it's like, oh, he kicked drugs. Fuck you, you shouldn't have been on the drugs in the first place. All right, we're getting off on something. My son, I want to talk about my son for a second.
Yeah.
My boy, sanitation department, he got medical.
$40 a week and all you could eat. No, that's an old joke.
That's an old joke.
It's an old joke.
You get a lot
now
more.
It's a good job.
Now it's a good,
it's a damn good job.
Yeah. I got to tell you something. He is set up for life because the older he got, the smarter I got. So he listened to a little advice.
Yeah. 401k.
But he dedicated. I didn't do it. He did it. I may have told him, what I thought he should do, but that's my way. I tell him what I think, and then he does. He got 3 medical certifications. He could do blood work on you right now if you needed it. Okay, and do emergency service. But he chose not to wear the white lab coat. He chose to wear the green and the orange. And he's making a ton.
Oh, yeah.
And they're giving him overtime. And he's still not even past that probation period yet. He drives that big, giant 30-ton truck with the... He's driven the street sweep, all that stuff. He
good money, great benefits.
And I'm proud as hell. My boy, Boychik, I'm not going to say your name because it's not anybody's business. I don't want to, people getting it. But Boychik, I love you, man. I'm so fucking proud. I could cry. Makes me so proud.
Let me briefly say something about my father. My father was a medic in World War II. He was shot. He was shot on the battlefield. He had post-traumatic stress disorder. He would wake up screaming off and on throughout his life. And as a kid, I really didn't understand why his dad screaming all the time. Not every night, but often enough. And he was in charge of freeing a concentration camp.
My father also was part of the Liberation Force, Master Sergeant.
He did. My father was a sergeant, and he did all the paperwork to release the prisoners. And he always said to me, they were like human skeletons. And on the wall in my apartment, there's a drawing by one of the prisoners of my father. So, everybody's like, this guy's a hero because he's a singer, actor, rapper, basketball player. No.
And
these guys were heroes.
Yeah, and he donates money to cupcakes for children, or some stupid charity. Yeah. We're giving 1% of our money to...
Yeah. So anyway, and then he came home and worked 6 days a week, 14 hours a day, driving a taxi. He was robbed 5 times. Wow. One time a junkie had a gun in his ear and the guy's hand was shaking. So you're out there every night trying to support a family. The true heroes are the dads and the moms and the single moms and the single dads. It's not some jerk off who could play a sport.
Right.
Right. There are athletes that give back. Muhammad Ali would walk down the street and give out money to poor people. There are athletes that give back. But there are also, greed mongers who it's all about themselves and their brand.
And he's always good in sports or athletics.
It's good and bad in every profession.
And in music, there's always people that are legitimate good people.
Of course. But there's good and bad in every profession.
But then there's the pretentious, the ones that we call heroes. Oh, Michael Jackson. Yeah, but he did make a lot of donations. So you see, he was one of the good ones. Even though he was one of the bad ones, he was one of the good ones in that other respect. He put a lot
Jim, what would you like to add to all of this? You're a dad.
What would I like to add to it?
Yeah, that was the question, Jim. The fucking guy who owns a studio. You would
Don Rickles over here.
He wouldn't be repeating the question to stall for time. I just hope to stall for a little more time.
Yes.
I think that I just posted about my dad. He's actually my stepdad, and he met my mom when she had 5 children, ranging from 3 to 12.
Yeah, that's a hero.
And he married my mom. They had another child, and they're still together. Yeah. Since I was 5 years old.
Raising your dad.
Awesome.
Raising dad. My
stepdad is biological father passed away a couple years ago. I felt bad that someone passed, but not like he was my father.
Yeah.
He's not my father.
He was your father, but he wasn't your dad. There's a
He
difference.
left when
There's
he
a
never
difference.
came back. He was like, adios.
Oh, so you can relate to some of
Oh,
this.
yeah.
My father
What
was.
was great was when, I'm sorry,
Oh, I'm
when we
sorry.
all grew up, they caught up to him and they garnished his pay. And my mom was
There you
like,
go.
every
There you
month,
go.
There you go.
Tons of money.
Yeah, turnabout is fair play.
Well, anyway,
That's good.
Super Nitro's waiting patiently. Let's take a quick break and bring Super Nitro
Yeah, let's
on.
take a break
Go
and
to
bring
commercial.
Super Nitro and get rid of this mook here. Let me keep moving.
The wrestling fan, you know, they loved you or they hated you. You know, if the fan loved you, they couldn't do enough for you. You know, they want to buy your meal, they want to buy your drink. I think it was one of the main reasons that, you know, whenever I stepped into the ring, I wanted to give back. I wanted to satisfy their reason for coming out and watching me wrestle.
I tell you what, I treated fans with respect and they loved me back. Whether I was a heel or a babyface, it didn't matter.
I learned right from the get-go with my parents that it was to appreciate every single fan that you got, every one. You know, I think that's one of the reasons I've had longevity in wrestling is that I always treated my fans with a lot of respect.
They wanted to kill me trying to get to my car, and they always knew I was in a Cadillac or something. And it was, you know, you were in fear for your life sometimes.
The New Jersey crowds were always great in the Boston Garden. It was dangerous at the Boston Garden.
The fans were believers in that era. They believed the doggone thing was real. And they were some of the fans were very violent.
I look back on it and I'm saying, well, you put up a lot of you know what. But you know something? That's what drove me to do it. Because the more those people hated me, more of this I made.
I was being punched and kicked, and I was having beer thrown on me. I was being hit by chairs.
How angry do you want to make your wrestling fans? How much do you want to butcher up your baby faces until they're all bleeding and they're being beaten by 8 or 10 guys? I mean, how far can you push an audience before they lose it and then you have the Alamo kind of thing?
Play with people's heads, you know. You gotta play with their minds, you gotta play with them. Psychology. Because that's how you manipulate people. And that's what I do. That's what I did for a living. I manipulated you when you were a kid. I know I did. Because you probably didn't like me, or you might have liked me because I was that way. And a lot of people did. A lot of people didn't. Thank you for the living I made at it, people. You were very good to me.
We are back with the Evan Ginsburg Show at villageconnectionradio.com, and we are joined by Super Nitro. All
Thank you.
right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, thanks for having me again.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Of course, from Brooklyn, New York. Born and raised. Family, of course, background. Just if I get a little bio of myself.
Yeah.
Family is from Honduras.
Okay.
Central America. I was basically the first born in America. But yeah, of course, been...
Your accent isn't too bad.
Yes. Yes.
Been professionally wrestling for 2.5 years. It's been one heck of an experience. I've learned a lot more in the past 2 years than I thought I did years ago. And it's been an honor.
And who's training you?
Now is Bronco International.
Oh, yeah.
Before,
Bronco's another guy, when he walks down the street, you go, that guy's a wrestler.
Yeah.
He looks like Bluto.
Yeah, he already has that figure. So you're like, yeah, he's there. But before him, my first trainer was Damian Slugger.
Oh, yeah, I know Damien. Yeah.
Yep. And then after
from the doghouse, yeah.
As you know, I managed Damien.
You managed Damien.
The indestructible slugger.
And then after him, trained briefly with Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
And
He is so underrated. That guy's great.
And we both know
Yeah.
I was his first manager, and I still manage him from New Evolution Wrestling.
You just manage everybody, don't you?
No, not everybody, but I manage that. The reason I don't manage you is you're too nice a guy. That's why you're too sweet, and people love you, and I can't have people loving me. You know what I mean?
Nobody can love the
I know
man.
Grim Reaper for 25 years, probably, right? Going back,
He's a good kid, too, you know?
good
He's
guy.
still teaching guys.
He's the man.
Yeah,
and
very
still
much so.
working. And you're an example of why he's a good teacher.
Yes.
Because you may be a sweet kid, and I may want to smack you when they get
Yes.
But here, I'll tell you, the reason you're good is because you had a good teacher and because you have good quality stock in you. You know, you could teach the stupidest guy in the world. You could have the best teacher and the stupidest guy. If he can't learn it, he can't learn it.
Yeah.
You got a good brain, and you got good physical characteristics. And like I said, mothers love him, fathers love him. His family, you gotta see his family comes down. It's like, I can't explain it. It's like seeing a whole tribe. No, this is bad. I know it's gonna sound bad, but I don't mean that. It's like seeing everybody's family in the world. One of the tribe, one of my family, all the Jews coming in, and everybody, oi, 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 and everybody's praising. This, I never heard anybody boo Tony Biella before, ever. He's the most loved guy in Brooklyn, right? Works for the department of the police department. He's a very, I mean, the things he does, and he's getting cheered and Tony's getting booed.
Yeah.
This kid can work.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the day I can bring a guy against him and show him you can work, but not as good as who I'm going to bring in.
Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready.
So what are some career highlights?
My best career highlights has been actually wrestling my brother.
Okay.
Because him himself, of course, he wrestled, but he put his wrestling career on hold. You know, he's in the Navy. So I just told him one day, hey, listen, just come to Robert Saint's having a show. I'm asking him if we can have a match against each other. And he was down for it, and we put on one heck of a battle. So that's for me personally, that's a more emotional thing for me, because me and him always wanted to like have a battle against each other.
It's because you got that secret tension between you.
Yeah.
See, you know, you're all smiles, but I know the backstory. And you and your brother got, you know, they knock heads, and they've always knocked heads. Yeah, I guess, you know, brothers love each other, but and your brother's been, you don't know, your brother's been asking to work, you know, he wants to work a program. He obviously wants to beat the crap out of you a few shows in a row. So maybe you ought to, you know, talk to your brother about that.
Well, all I know is for this upcoming Saturday, June 22nd, NEW returns to Elks Lodge. And we having a Pedro Morales tribute battle royal to determine the new number one contender for the NEW World Heavyweight Championship.
Okay.
And also the JC Cup. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name.
JL Chico.
JL Chico. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name.
Tell us before we continue about JL Chico, because I remember him. Everybody loved that guy also. Tell us about him.
He was an independent wrestler.
Yeah.
That was smart. Let's put it this way. He wouldn't train you. He would give advice. You know, he would talk quietly and nicely to you and correct something you were doing wrong, or praise you when you're doing something right. Was always there. Everybody seemed to love him. See, I don't know him as well as a lot of these other guys. He was working for other companies, but he was working all the time. And you don't work all the time if you're not good. So he could wrestle, but he had a way about him where people could feel comfortable talking to him. They could sort of confide in him. They could get advice from him. You know what I mean? And that's important. You know, you got to have a guy like that around the locker room. And he imparted an incredible amount of information.
I think it's great in the wrestling business when the historians, the super fans, you know, guys like JL Chico who were involved in various capacities, not just the legendary wrestlers, that they get acknowledged when they pass, because there are guys who have devoted their lives to this with very little monetary compensation.
Kind of like Bobby Lombardi. There should have been more of a tribute to a guy like him who took kids.
I've been talking for years about having a Bobby Lombardi memorial show, and everybody's like yeah, nothing happens. Bobby Lombardi, for those who don't know, he helped wean Homicide and Low Key. I mean, some, you know,
Slugger.
Yeah.
And Grim
the
Reaper.
Dog,
And Low Life Lou. I mean, all these guys came from the Doghouse.
Yeah. Yep. So instead of, you know, just talking about it, there's 20 shows a month. Why doesn't somebody just do a Bobby Lombardi tribute show?
You know who wound up doing a Bobby Lombardi show?
Who?
Robert Saint.
Well, let's do it.
Well, we're doing a JL Chico Cup.
Let's do it.
Which is going to be, by the way, it's going to be annually. Every year, we're going to have an annual JL Chico Cup where you can vie, you know, to win the cup. Okay? And
I did 2 Bobby Lombardi tribute shows on air. One with him in studio. He had lost a leg to diabetes.
Oh no!
And all his wrestlers were there. I shouldn't say all, but a room full of wrestlers. And he was crying, and it meant a lot to him. You know, pay tribute to people while they're here. And then we did one after he was gone also. And Chris Michaels helped me with all of that. but acknowledge people.
You're
Dale,
right.
Dale Pierce was an indie wrestler. He worked for decades, and he was also a journalist, a historian. He passed recently, and Ron Von Hess is going to do a tribute to him in Washington. He was based out of Washington. You put 30 years into something, acknowledge people. It's.
And Frank Goodman had the seichel to do and the heart, not just the smarts, because it just takes intelligence to say, you know what, this should be done. So I'm going to have the intelligence to do it. But he had the heart to do it too with the Chris Candido Memorial Show.
Oh yeah,
did it for years.
Everybody loved
and
Chris.
Other people did.
That's a good name for a TV show.
Idea, but Chris was the idea, even though he was in WWF and in TNA and Smoky Mountain and all other places, territories, he was still, to me, the greatest indie wrestler because he did so many different indie shows, especially that's where
Chris was an artist and a nice guy.
And ECW to me was an indie show.
Indie show.
ROH is an indie show. Well, until they hooked up with NWA. Once they became NWA, then now it's not an independent show anymore. It's an affiliated show.
ROH just played the Garden. They're bigger than it.
I don't give a shit. Listen, I think at the time I could have given $16,000.
They have $1 billion corporation behind them. It's bigger than an indie.
You could have at one time. You could take your own guys, the whole guys from the neighborhood. You could rent the Nassau Coliseum and let them wrestle in the middle of the ring.
You can rent anything. It doesn't mean you're going to make money.
What does that mean? So just by Ring of Honor being in Madison Square Garden doesn't make them non-independent. That they're NWA.
But they're owned by $1 billion corporation. Have a TV network. I mean, it is big time.
Well, ECW was an independent company, even though
I understand what you're saying. I understand.
Because there was only them. They weren't affiliated with anybody else, and there was no switching around guys. They would get guys in and out, like Frank. It could be ECW, it could be TNA, it could be WCW, WWF, New Japan. Don't matter. He'll bring a guy. And that's what independent wrestling is taking guys from all those other affiliated companies and putting them, or big time, the major leagues, whatever, and now using them in your own independent show, which is not affiliated with anybody else. Just to be clear on what that is.
That presentation, though, for ECW, but it was like a giant indie show. All it had was just commentating. Other than that, it was a giant indie show on television.
Vignettes.
It wasn't
stupid vignettes, which I could, I can't stand it. How was there? Now Chris Jericho walks up to the girl in the back, and she goes, "Oh, Chris," and and then he gets caught by somebody else because it's really his girlfriend.
And the cameras are conveniently there.
Yeah. What do you want? Oh, Chris. So what do you want to do today? I don't know. Just walk around, film stuff here with me. It's not The Office.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
But that's what they turned it into. It's like The Office. Then Chris should turn around to the camera and go, you know what I mean? Look right there and talk to the camera. It's stupid.
Yeah.
For wrestling, it was never done. Gordon Soley didn't do it. All those other guys. Gene Okerlund was the best. You go grab a guy, especially if he was stoned, grab Morocco or grab Macho Man. Ooh, go me. Now my voice is good. Macho, right? Ooh, Ricky Steamboat when he started. He had a little tiny cup, he drop it, and then pats of sugar. Brilliant. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see on the camera. These guys doing their crazy shit that's why they're performers. This guy's got personality. Even this Mooka's got personality.
So if he's got personality, why don't you let him talk?
I'm sorry.
There you go.
You're right.
Yeah. Super Nitro. Where'd you get your name from?
Believe it or not, I mean, when I became a wrestler, I just didn't have a name to go with, so I just went with Nitro. I never watched WCW, so that's why I know people are like, oh, you got it from WCW. I'm like, no, I just like the name Nitro. So of course I knew that eventually when I became a professional, I have to change that name. That's like a, unpopular, a world name that's been used so many times. Johnny Nitro, etc. to name a few. It's just been so many Nitros. So training with Slugger, I just was talking to him about my name. At first I had G Armstrong. He like, G Armstrong, no. Right. So he just said, all right, we're going to go with Super Nitro. I said, okay. And it's been good with me since.
There you go. Whatever works.
Whatever. The time,
yeah.
right?
And I know I'm going to get a few critiques, but so far, seems people enjoy it.
Okay.
You like it, right?
I like it. I mean, I know that's what matters to me, but sometimes, you just think of certain names and how people run,
You see what I mean? What a sweet kid this is.
So.
Worried about his name if it offends somebody. It's a good fucking name. Keep it. You know what nitro is? Nitroglycerin. You know what nitroglycerin does? It blows up. You don't blow up, but you blow the crowd up.
Yeah.
All right? You pop the crowd. Super Nitro is exciting.
There you go. There you go. So what else do you have coming up besides the 22nd?
As of right now, it's supposed to be going to Florida in August.
Oh, that's great.
So I forget what promotion, but a few promotion coming up. BWF at the July 6th. And we have this guy over here, him and his
Good
tag
luck.
team.
Good luck in the BWF in July. It's like 137 degrees in that locker room. I've been there.
It's called Summerfest for a
That's
reason.
right.
All right.
Don't you have something coming up in September?
Yeah, and another NEW promotion in September. Another show.
No. Don't you have something
Oh
coming up on
yes,
September 7th?
Yeah.
USA Pro.
Yeah, there
Yes,
you
I can
go.
finally make my debut there.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes.
See, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing here. I got to jump in every once in a while, poke you, to remind you. September 7th, you're going to make a big impression. They're going to love you.
And some of the greatest wrestlers in history have worked for Frank Goodman. I mean, really, no exaggeration. Jimmy Snooker, everybody's worked
Eddie
for
Guerrero,
Eddie Guerrero.
King Kong Bundy,
Yeah.
Jake Roberts. I told the story, the Jake Roberts story. Fucking putting his teeth in my shirt. Sick bastard. He took out his teeth.
Yeah.
Put him in my. I was handing him a shirt to put on. This shirt.
Yeah.
He puts my shirt in the teeth. He went to hand it back. Put it in the teeth. Runs in, back, kills the guy, comes out. I say, here's your shirt. Thanks for helping me.
Wow.
That was my spot, standing there.
Wow. So how do you feel about joining a promotion like USA Pro, which has such a rich history?
It'll be a great experience to join because, of course, I've never haven't gone to that high caliber. So it'll be an honor to basically be a part of that show, part of the event.
Yeah, Scott Steiner's
Shane
headlining.
Douglas. Even Chuckles the Clown. By the way, that's a rising star. We got to get him on this show.
Yeah, that guy's colorful.
He's fucking. And you don't need anybody else. Let him talk for it. You think I can talk? This guy cuts a promo from the minute he opens his mouth. You're working with some great guys, and you know what? You're gonna fit right in.
I can't wait for that.
Homicide will be there. Manny Fernandez will be there.
I did an article. For the Gorilla Position, a great history site, and I said this is a question that's never been addressed because when you go on social media, it's the same bullshit every day. Mm-hmm. Who was the greatest tag team? Who was the greatest heel? So I said I've never seen this question. Who were the most consistent wrestlers who never had a bad match? Who I've never seen have a bad match. I've never seen that question addressed. And I said, I never saw Killer Kowalski have a bad match. I never saw John Tolos have a bad match. I never saw Homicide have a bad match. I put him on. I never saw Johnny Rods have a bad match. Johnny Rods could work with anybody.
Yep.
Yes.
Johnny Rods.
Forget one loss records. I'm talking consistent.
Johnny Rods is Fred Astaire, just like Homicide is Fred Astaire.
Yeah.
It's a little shorter, that's all. But they're both Fred. They could work with a chair.
Homicide's
the
great.
Over. The chair could be over, and they'll still get the pops.
So I made this list of 10 guys, and some of them, may be considered quote-unquote jobbers by the uneducated. This is another pet peeve of mine. A lot of people started watching wrestling like mid-'80s, WWE peak, boom period. And you saw a lot of older guys who were kind of jobbers at that point. But they didn't realize that these guys were tag team champions, regional champions, wrestled in Japan, wrestled around the world.
Right.
And one guy was Davey O'Hannon. You remember this guy never had a bad match.
You know my buddy Pete Sanchez. He was one of my mentors.
He was
Davey O'Hannon. We were hanging out for a while until I lost touch with Pete for a while. But Davey O'Hannon, great guy. Fucking great wrestler.
Oh yeah,
great wrestler.
So Davey O'Hannon was the Texas Brass Knucks champ, and he was the Western States Tag Team champion with Dennis Stamp. Well, he came to WWF, and at the time it was like a giant, big man promotion, and he was in prelims and he lost fairly regularly, and so the perception is the guy was a jobber, but the guy's as good as anybody that. The
guy was a flying wrestler.
Exactly.
Could tie you into a knot and untie you without having broken anything. Yeah. That's a true test of a wrestler. Right?
I think that was his. Well, I mean, yeah, he was a jobber or whatever. But he was really there to also educate the guy he was working with.
Oh, yeah.
His job was to make this guy look good.
Talent enhancement.
His job was to make that guy work his ass off to beat him.
That's right.
And if he couldn't beat him, then he got the pin.
Yep.
But it turns out that these guys were better than him. See, I like to keep kayfabe, if you don't mind. These guys, he made them work their ass off. Johnny Rods, he might have been able to beat, on some days might have beaten the guy that beat him, but it wasn't that day. So Johnny Rods was the test. If you could beat Johnny Rods consistently, then okay, we're gonna let you go for a belt or go for a championship.
I'm watching TV as a kid, so there's Johnny Rods wrestling SD Jones 137 times at the Garden. Then you turn on the LA TV and he's the champion out there.
Yeah.
Remember Jabaruk?
Sure.
Yeah.
Jabaruk was in Middle East when they wrestled in the Middle East. The U.S. I mean the WWF, and he was one of them, obviously because of his name. Jabaruk. They ate him up.
Oh yeah.
He was a very popular wrestler.
And he was a star in Puerto Rico, and so people. I don't like the so-called smart fans with the condescending. Oh, he was just a jobber.
They don't
get it.
They don't say that about Johnny anymore. It's funny you say, because now he's the one of the guys now that they started to realize what he really was.
I saw Johnny Rods wrestle Billy Robinson at Madison Square Garden. It was like a wrestling clinic. These guys were just going hold for hold. It was as good a match as you'll ever see. I saw Johnny Rods wrestle Tatsumi Fujinami for the WWF Junior Heavyweight Championship. It was tremendous. It was 20 minutes, and the guy was totally credible as the challenger. Totally credible. I saw Johnny Rods wrestle Black Gordman. I mean, so, you know who gets a raw deal? Mike Sharp. Oh, he was just a jobber. Absolutely not true. No. Mike Sharp wrestled Backlund. Mike Sharp wrestled Tito Santana for the Intercontinental
Mike Sharp
belt.
held some championships.
Held championships. That's right.
Mike Sharp had belts.
That's
Mike
right.
Sharp was worked at. Mike Sharp had a gimmick that was as real as you could imagine, because people hated him when he came out.
You could go on YouTube today, pull up Mike Sharp against Bob Backlund, headlining the Philadelphia Spectrum for the belt. He was just a jobber. Wrong. And these guys are gone now, so they can't defend themselves.
It's a shame, I'm telling you, he died fairly young, Mike Sharp. You know what I mean? It's a shame, because he really not just could physically work. He knew what to say and when to say it. And he knew the mannerisms, like the pantomime that we talk about. Where you don't have to actually, the words don't have to come out of your mouth. As long as you're doing it and they see the eyes and they see. He was perfect.
He was great. Guy was great.
He had that cast, first he was a cast, and this thing. He's the reason that Bob Orton Jr. Stole that. He didn't steal it, but he appropriated it. Wearing a cast for 2 years.
What do you guys think about people rewriting history? I'll go online and guys posting, and supposedly these are like history pages that people are supposed to love and respect the business. The guy goes, Johnny Valiant was a terrible talker and a terrible wrestler. I go, that's absolute nonsense. Yeah. Nobody was a better talker than Johnny Valiant.
Right.
Johnny Valiant.
How do you put this guy was a bad talker? And they're all agreeing. It's like comedy. Not everybody understands comedy. Whoosh. It goes over some people's heads.
He would say some things in the interview with Okerlund, where Okerlund would have, or whoever was interviewed, they would have to go. They'd have to cover their mouth, because what he was saying was a double entendre, but so quick and it was going over people's
But how
heads.
do you say this guy was a bad talker and a bad wrestler? Absolutely untrue. No. Absolutely untrue.
He was a heel, so you're supposed to dislike him, but then you have to stop and say, wait a second, how do you not like Goliath if Davies the baby's face? How do you not like Goliath? Without Goliath, Davey ain't no heel. I mean, Dave's not babyface. He's no good. He can't do anything.
But I see people literally like rewriting history. And I'm kind of like, what about don't speak ill of the dead?
That too.
100%. How about don't have cognizant dissonance? For those of you who don't know what that means, it means I think it, therefore it is. People make a statement, they go, oh, that looks right.
Yeah,
I'll put that out.
I just
Let's see how many opinions I get.
I feel that's the thing too. People who's on this whole trend of following each other, that nobody is having their own opinion anymore. Everybody just like, oh, okay, I want to stick with that because I don't want to be the oddball out. And they say, yeah, I agree with you, and you don't. Just be yourself at the end of the day. Everybody quick to say be yourself, but they don't want to still be themselves.
It's fine. It's fine to disagree with people and speak your mind, but I just don't see devoting an evening to attacking some dead wrestler who was legitimately good.
Yeah.
Who was legitimately good. You know.
I never understood that myself.
But they just probably didn't like the things they don't understand the business at that time, or they just don't accept that that era. So if everything is like critiqued, you know, even this era is going to be critiqued in another few years. Oh, this.
Okay,
this
so
era.
let's deal with that since you brought it up. What do you say to the old school fans who watch, to me, a masterpiece like Okada and Kenny Omega and go, oh, it's just a spot fest. These guys are spot monkeys, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, that was a great match. I don't know what you're talking about. What's your take on like the old school fans knocking what you guys do?
Yes.
You first.
Yeah.
You first before I go.
Because it's like, because they, my thing is like, what I hear the old school is like, less is better. So for them, they feel like you said, for them, a wrist lock for 10 minutes is like, that's the best thing for them versus.
I get bored by that, and I'm an old school fan.
But that's they love that versus, like you said, like a consistency of chaining within like, to say 5 minutes, like 3 more.
Chain wrestling is old school too. You see, that's everybody thinks it's. You're doing what these millennials are doing. Oh, now you're taking that opinion. It's not that way.
Okay.
But you're right. It's less is more. No, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to do every. Save that extra drop kick for somebody else. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's.
No, it's cool.
No,
I mean, I'm
old
just.
school,
I mean, I'm just like, because at the end of the day, honestly, I'm late myself in the wrestling game. Even though, like, I started watching wrestling when people started fading out of wrestling. So I watched at 13.
Yeah.
You know, where before people were starting at 5, 6.
Right,
so
right.
I'm catching up
Well, that's
still.
when I
Honestly,
started
so I'm still
watching.
catching up. So I'm me myself. I was the popular lover. So I liked when I first watched, I liked The Rock because he was the popular guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then people like Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, like Jericho, Dean Malenko, I didn't appreciate their matches because my thing was, oh, what are they doing? I was the powerhouse lover. Like I like Brock Lesnar, Batista, but then I started Goldberg, just a simple body slam, call it a day. But as time went on, I started. I respect technical wrestling. I loved it. I was like, oh, I love it.
I think Eddie Guerrero was the best wrestler in the world at his peak. I don't think anybody.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's now that you say that, I used to be like, oh, Eddie Guerrero. Again, I was on the Rock.
Right.
And then when I asked,
well, The Rock had more charisma than anybody.
but that's
for
all
sure.
it was.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you take that away, it's like, what does he have in the ring? So I started respecting the ring craft, like
See,
more, you know, what was done in the ring.
It's very rare having that
both.
total
Yeah.
package, like a Ric Flair or a Randy Savage at their peak, where you have the charisma and you're a great wrestler and a great gimmick, putting all those pieces. That's very difficult.
Adonis. Include him in that. because
Adonis was great.
All of those guys, to me, were luchadors. Every one of them. You put Ric Flair in a mask, put him down in Mexico, he would have been El Campeón.
Yeah.
Because he would have flipped it up. You know, I'm doing with the exciting moves, and I don't. And old school is part of it, and that's part of it too. But you don't use 40 of them in the match, because then people are going.
All right. So what is your take on that? I watched 3 or 4 matches, Omega and Okada, and I'm just sitting there going, this is unbelievable. And there were 40 different moves, and it did go for 40 minutes.
They were
It's
timed.
different. It went for 40 minutes. These are 12-minute matches. They're doing
right.
8,
I
10,
understand.
12-minute match. You can't do it. 40 minutes, yes, you need it. Like in our show, you need me. Because you can't fill up 2 hours with these 2 guys. You can. I know you can. Deadly silence. Right. 2 guys that are ready to jump off the top rope and crush me. But yeah, you're doing 12 minutes. Do a few things. You're exciting. I watch this kid flies and he wrestles. And then he flies, then he wrestles. Yeah. Then he puts a guy in a wrist lock for 10 minutes. Now you can't because you don't have 10 minutes. Yeah. But you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
The old school guys, we're not saying don't do these things. But I get bored when I watch Ring of Honor, and now they're doing the exchange, you know, the up and back. Oh, I did a backflip, you did a backflip. I rolled over your back, you rolled over my back. Everything is counted.
It can look choreographed.
And then at the end, the end of that whole thing, they stop and they look at each other, and fans go, suck it up. It sucks. It's just time filler. That's to me like the vignette in WWE, you know, having, you know, Lita getting caught kissing Kane because, you know, Jericho's jealous or whatever, you know. That's the same to me as going the up and back bullshit they do.
So what's the line? What's the line between getting your stuff in and it being overkill and not credible? What is the line?
You gotta read the crowd.
Read the
you
crowd.
gotta read the crowd.
Yeah,
Got to.
Because there's been times where, like you said, when the crowd is not into it and they just keep going. When it's like, listen, cut it, do something else.
Yeah.
Cut, block somebody off, cut somebody off, take it somewhere else. And then it's like, some guys just want to finish they want to be on top. So they want to finish their spot. Like, right. No, this is my moment.
Right.
And it's like,
they try to pop the locker room instead of popping the crowd, which is wrong.
And it's like, sometimes it can't be like that. You like, if you see it's not working, all right, change. Hit me. All right, take it to the corner.
Yeah.
Meet me down here. Like you said, build the crowd up. Sometimes we forget. I'm guilty of that too. We forget that we wrestling for the crowd. They're a part of us, and we just catch ourselves just being in it for ourselves, and then we lose the crowd. So that's sometimes I'm guilty of that, and that's what happens sometimes in the ring. They forget, like, hey, it's for everybody, not just for y'all.
Right.
If that crowd doesn't care,
then
what did you accomplish?
Because
There's
been so many high, like you said, there's been so many high flying moves where people just was quiet. They're like, okay, what do we,
Yeah.
Like,
it's like a stand up not getting laughs.
They were already jaded. They were already jaded. They saw so much that there was no space between the notes. You love jazz. The reason jazz is cool is because there's space between the notes. And with John Coltrane, there's no space between notes, but then there's a space between the notes. And that's what you need, a space between the notes.
I tell promoters, it's always interesting. A promoter will pick my brain, and inevitably they don't listen anyway. But I'll tell them, old school, have 7, 8, and 9 matches, not 15.
Hey, we do 12 or 13 matches, but nobody was bored. You weren't bored at the NEW show? We did 12 matches.
No, but you still don't need 13. It is a bit much.
12 is okay, but 13 is like, no, I know.
Yeah, but 13's unlucky. No, but seriously, you have a good tag team match. You have 2 technicians. You have 2 brawlers. You have 1 or 2 women's matches. Whatever, variety. Yeah. But you don't need 15 matches. It's numbing after a while.
Exactly right.
I mean,
the last NEW show, I wrestled Grim Reaper, and of course, he trained me.
Yeah.
I give him all the credit in the world for that match. Our match was different. I know there was like 13 matches or whatever, but I was like, you know what? And I didn't know at the time that he was going to be the heel or whatever. And it turned out being me. I came up with this stupid little contract where it says he can't chop me or whatever. Before the match even started, we had a story. So the crowd was invested.
Yeah.
They hated me. They loved him. But what did we really do? We didn't do...
We wrestled each other. The funny thing is, Evan, and I'm chiming in because I don't want to fuck this story up.
Yeah.
All right, come on.
No, sir. Go ahead.
I was Reefa's manager for the match. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're heels. He's a heel, but we're heelier heels.
Yeah, right.
Except that Kevin needed a lesson. You didn't know this, and I didn't care. I had a conversation with Ace before the match, before the contract was on, because he had 2 signatures on this freaking thing. Robert said, get enough signatures, I'll do the stipulation. He couldn't get signatures. I talked to Robert, and I told him, do the stip. He did it. So he thought, I'm working with him. I didn't do shit with him. I let him get the shit beat out of him the whole fucking match, and Reefa didn't do one chop, not one chop, because that's the thing he wanted to say, right? People reacted to it. Yeah. They didn't know that chops bothered him. Yeah. Now they knew. So the whole match, they were screaming, chop that. They all wanted to chop him. They wanted to chop it. And it was a great match for the indies, I consider a 4-star match. And at the end, I had to go in the bar and I had to convince Reefa that I really wasn't fucking him up. Because I made a surprise. I wanted to excite the crowd a little bit, so I announced. By the way, the reason he got the contract signed, there's no saying, I did it. It was me.
Whatever it is, whether it's wrestling, boxing, a movie, a TV show, you have to care. Mm-hmm. If you just throw 2 guys in and for no reason whatsoever, and they're just doing 37 spots, why you have to have some emotional investment in this. Yeah. And it's another reason you shouldn't have 15 matches, because you can't build all these storylines. Make people care. This is a follow-up from the last show. This is something happened on TV, and, this is stemming from, there has to be a reason to care.
I'm glad you said that, because there are some promoters that just do that, put matches together, and then it's like, I mean, Cole, I don't know. That's what say. Call me. I won't say old school, but like, I like telling a story. I like to tell a story. I want the fans to, when they come back to the next show, if you see a poster, they go, "Oh, I remember what happened. Let me come back." Instead of it's just another match. I mean, yes, wrestling matches are good, but like you said, if you want to, have people come back, invest in something or tell a little story,
and always leave them wanting more. That's another reason you don't need a 4 or 5 hour show. Leave them wanting more. Well, I'm coming back in 1 month or 2 months to see that rematch. I remember you and Alvarez had, it was more than one match. It's like, I want to come back and see that again. You care.
Yeah, like something that going back to FTW, what they did, it was when it was Grim Reaper versus Mighty Labels. I love that build-up. I never even went to a FTW event, but that kept me interested. Like, let me see what's going on. Every show was another story told. Like, Imani got betrayed in this show. The next show, he getting a chance for the Gen X Championship. The next show, he got betrayed again. So it was interesting, and things like that will make people come back.
And since you mentioned that, Imani, who's with IWW, he does a lot of stuff on social media, a lot of promos, a lot of packages. How important is social media to promote an independent show? Because I mean, this radio show is free publicity, obviously, but what about promoting specific matches with video packages and music videos, whatever the case may be? Imani kind of does like storylines online. I mean, what's your take on this?
I myself try to do little packages myself, because I want people to invest. Like
and you have the tech skills. You could do that.
I try, thank you. Like, I want people to invest into the match as much as I want to, as much as I am invested in the match. Like, if I'm like, a prime example, ECPW just last month, I went against Tony Biella, but it was a triple threat match. But I still promoted that match as much as I could, because I didn't want to just say, "Yeah, I'm going for the championship." I had family do videos for me, had supporters like, "Oh, let's go," it's just to invest, to have people invested, like, "Oh, I want to come see this," because it's something, you're promoting yourself.
So my question is, why don't more indie wrestlers? The technology is there. It costs next to nothing today. In minutes you could cut a promo if you wanted to. Why don't more indie promoters do this? Because as a fan, I'm just sitting there. It's just like match after match after match after match. Unless the match is great, I don't particularly care a lot of times.
I'm again, you're saying what I've been thinking. It's the truth. It's like, again, I like a good, you're saying that it just opens the door to what I was thinking, because it's the truth. It's like, if you, especially for a promoter to say, push the show. Okay, what are we giving the fans? You want us to push the show, you want us to, advertise, but what are we giving them? You're telling us advertise just for us to be like, "Oh, here's some donuts." This is what you push for us to advertise. That's why, like, for me personally, like, I like when it's an event, I push as much as I can. Like, I try to promote it as much as I can.
Is it sheer laziness that most of the wrestlers don't?
It's the law of natural selection.
Yeah.
It is survival of the fittest. Mm-hmm. There's putts in the corner here. They say, because we're working against you Saturday, so I gotta be nice to you.
Yeah.
I want to build up the tension, give you, get you a little schmilchus there. Mm-hmm. He promotes. I put out a thing, even if it's insulting him and Big Cuzzo, and you see me, I write beautiful promos, and I put them out. I'm the promo king, okay? I've had now other shows from every place else want me to do, because they like my promos, okay? He puts out promos. They get on the camera, they talk, you take your phone, talk on the phone. It's not even being lazy. It's that those guys are not going to make it. Homicide does Homicide have to promote himself? He's got 100 different guys that put stuff out about him. Every day, my man D promotes himself. As much as you promote that 350 days, he's promoting that 50.
You missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't miss 350 days, starring Bret Hart.
There you go. Yeah. And not starring Mr. Big, but the next one will. I'll be in the 351 days.
Yeah.
But that's what you got to do. Okay, I know I'm hogging the spotlight, but you ain't talking. So they cut promos. That's what they do. And This schmuck shares my promos. They're insulting him and Cuzzo. I put a picture of him, and Cuzzo's holding him like a little baby. I tell him how much apologies I'm doing. He shares them. He shares posts.
Well, my point is, next Saturday night, we're expecting to see a full house at NEW at the Elks Lodge. And somewhere else next Saturday night, there'll be 37 people, and it'll be grim, at some other show, because they don't promote.
They'll brag about how he did the wrestlers. Oh, did you see my 40 spots? Oh yeah, did we pop the crowd? Yeah, we popped it. It ain't hard to pop if you only got 2 rows filled up on one side. The guy in Long Island, the fat guy in Long Island, that we won't talk about him too much, but Andrew worked the show, so did Timothy Theory. Now, I wrestled them as a tag, I managed them as a tag team, and I manage each one of them individually. Okay, matter of fact, Tim holds the ECPW 5 Boroughs Tag Team Championship with Robert Saint.
Which me and the Patriot rightfully won, but we're not going to go there.
You don't win shit, because if you won it, where's the belt? Where's your belts? You got no belts around your waist, then fuck you, shut up.
Wow.
See, you get the belt. I told you it was going to be a joke.
Is cursing cheap heat? In the old days, that would be cheap
Not
heat.
with me, that's my... See, it would be like me calling somebody a schnorrer. It's part of my way I call it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever terminology I might use to
what happens when you don't have nothing
else to say. That's it. When I don't have nothing, because I don't have a verbiage on me, right? I got a glossary in my body.
We're rapidly running out of time. Let me bring this somewhere else.
That's why.
I see many indie guys who all of a sudden, like Sonny Kiss, have sat in this chair. Next thing you know, they're in AEW or NXT or whatever the case may be.
After 10 years, he became an overnight success.
But still, the idea is somebody paid their dues and made it. Does this give you guys more hope that they're...
Yes.
So tell us about that.
So back with the social media thing, the only reason why AEW even exists now, it's because of social media. Because Cody Rhodes was comfortable with just promoting the Young Buck stuff on YouTube, because he was going to wrestle in New Japan, whatever. Like, you know what? Because of social media, WWE can have a little bit of competition.
But the Young Bucks are extraordinary, and you still can't turn a turd into a diamond. You still have to,
No, but if you have a diamond, and they did have a let's say not a diamond, let's say they had quartz, okay, which is close, or they had emerald or ruby, whatever. But when they got on social media, you get it's exponential.
Oh yeah.
Now you've done your work, and now other people are working for you. They're all sharing and sharing and sharing. Yep. I put out a post. He's sharing it. 40 other wrestlers who want to get over are sharing, because I mentioned their name briefly, and their mothers, their fathers, and they're all friends. Yep. They're spraying around. That's why AEW sold out so fast.
Yep.
They wouldn't have sold that in the 70s. It would have had to take some time.
Oh yeah.
That's how you support independent wrestling. That's how you do it.
So when you guys see a Sonny Kiss or somebody that you've worked with, shared the same rig with, the same locker room with, how does this make you feel?
It makes me feel like I'm definitely can definitely push it. If I keep pushing myself, I would definitely get there. I would get to the top. I would get to that promotion. Like, I'll just dedication. So hard work.
He could be a ringer. Give him one more year of experience wrestling. Yeah. This guy could be working John Gresham or Jay Lethal or any of the great guys that were. I think it's
I remember Jay
Jeff
Lethal
Cobb,
working indies in Jersey.
I worked with Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal was great. His best thing though was the Macho Man gimmick, and I'm sorry he don't do it all the time anyway. But I guess he wants it. Wants to change. But this guy could be working. He could work probably now, but he needs more seasoning. In a year, if he ain't in Ring of Honor, I'll be ashamed of him.
I mean, just to throw it out there. My legend that I would like to have a one-on-one with, RVD.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
I know him.
RVD.
Like
I would love to have a match with RVD.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah. Well, so.
Yeah. So we must wrap it up soon. Anything else you guys want to plug?
I actually do have one announcement. So I was saving this. The week after the NEW show, after hopefully myself and Cuzzo beat.
When you wake up, when you wake up, when they discharge you, you mean, on the 28th.
Sure.
Hopefully you get discharged on the 28th so you can make the 29th or wherever you're going.
No. So, June 28th, BCW is going to have a show in the Bronx. This is the first time I'm actually going to make the announcement. It's going to be myself going up against Sebastian Cage, Gabriel Sky, and Anthony Silva in our fatal four-way match.
Yeah, I know all these guys. They've done my shows.
Gabriel Sky, of those, I think I like him best. Well, because he could, no, he's good. He's good. And you're pretty talented too. I'll give you that. That's the only reason why we consented to fighting you. If you're a real piece of shit, we wouldn't bother. We don't do squash matches.
You know what's funny is just that in my entire career, I've been doing this for 4 years, right? I've never lost ever a tag team match, ever.
What do you think? What do you think your odds are this coming Saturday?
Let me tell you.
You know who you're fighting, right?
I know.
You know who these guys are. You've seen their pictures, right?
I've seen them,
okay.
And I've listen. I've won last man standing matches. I've won ladder matches. I've won championships. All right, that's one half of the opposition that you're going up against. The other guy's Big Cuzzo. Have you met Big Cuzzo?
I met him. He's big.
Yeah, big fucking guy. That's what he is.
His name is Big Cuzzo.
The appropriately named Big Cuzzo.
Yeah. We're a two-man faction. We're not even a tag team, all right? You're talking to one world champion and another world champion on the same team. We're not just two regular guys. We're not just best friends or whatever, all right? We're two total ass kickers. Anderson.
Right the first time. Go ahead.
Anderson and Tokyo Monster, they're going to have a nice little fight. Now, I'm not going to say that they're going to win, all right? But I don't know what they're going to do to beat the shit out of me just so they get the victory. I don't go down easy, brother. It took Grim Reaper to put me through a table to beat me.
Right.
All right?
Right. Without a chop.
Without a single chop. But you know what? That table was brutal, okay? This Saturday night coming up, get the boys ready. Me and Cuzzo, we're always ready for a fight.
You're going to get chopped so many times on Saturday by both of them. They're going to might as well call you either pork or lamb. Okay?
And I'll still get up.
There's going to be enough chops of you to feed everybody in the audience.
And I'll still get up in their face.
See, Evan? I got this guy to finally open up his freaking mouth.
There you
and
go.
talk like a man. That's what we want. We want a man and another man as his partner to step in the ring against two monsters.
All right.
We are the Far East Midwest Samurai. That's who they are. They are an integral part of the new Millennium Elite, the enemy. So beware. The enemy is coming.
Yeah?
Be afraid.
You know what we are? We're the new.
Be very afraid.
We're the new evolution. That's what we are.
Ace Andrews, Super Nitro, Mr. Big. Any final plugs?
Yeah, I got a couple here that brought me very nicely. No, I don't.
Don't miss
all
out on the
natural,
action
baby.
June 22nd.
Don't miss this show.
Don't miss it.
Do
No,
not
don't
miss
don't
this
miss
show.
it.
Don't miss the action.
See, this is one time I can agree with them. Don't miss it. And don't miss 350 days. And go back and get a copy of The Wrestler because Mickey Rourke could use a few royalties and so could Darren and Evan. 350 days. Right, does it come in Blu-ray?
Comes in Blu-ray,
Let me see. Does it
DVD,
come in
T-shirts.
Blu-ray? T-shirts.
The whole deal.
Blu-ray, the whole
There you go. The whole deal.
I talk a lot, but I help you, don't I?
That's right. That's right. We are in the top 20 in the world for 2 months since our release. And
that's without me.
That's right. Critically acclaimed. Superstar Billy Graham, Greg Valentine, Tito Santana, Wendy Richter.
Billy complains about everything, but he never complained not about 1 second.
He got behind the movie.
100%.
It's interesting when you do a movie. It's like anything else. We have 36 legends in it, and many of them got behind it, and a few just didn't want to be bothered. It's just the nature of the beast.
You got to promote. Yeah. Can I say one thing to
Sure,
somebody?
Sure.
Hey, Patriot, you big masked putz. Last time that I got in the ring, I got headbutted. I got sent into the turnbuckle. I got Irish whipped and had a splash into Timothy Theory. I got a headbutt to the balls. And then after all is said and done, I got a hockey stick to the throat. In error, but still a hockey stick to the throat. I'm arranging something that's heinous, that you better get your insurance paid up. And if you got term life, you know, the funeral coverage, you better get that. Because I'm sick to death of this bullshit. You keep drawing me into the fight and drawing me in, and I'm too old to fight you. You understand? All I do is kill you. So I'm telling you now, Get your shit straight. Get your affairs in order. I don't know when I'm going to see you next, but when I do, the fucking war is on. You get it, Tommy?
I don't think we could end on a better note than that. Shout out to Monty and the Pharaoh, Thursdays, 8:05, our wrestling
Hey,
show.
Monty, hey, Pharaoh.
That's right. This is actually an arts program, but every so often we do all wrestling like today. So
Hey, we talked about a lot of jazz, earlier today, didn't we?
that was in the car. That doesn't count.
It's funny. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a great conversation on the way.
That's right. That's right. We skipped it. We skipped it for the show.
You missed it. But we had a hell of a time.
That's
we talked
right.
About Ella Fitzgerald, Buddy Rich. We talked about who else? Lockjaw Davis. I met Milt Jackson. Talked about a lot of guys. So next time maybe we'll talk.
I am. Speaking of Father's Day, I'm forever indebted to my father and mother for taking me to see the Spinners, Art Blakey, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Milt Jackson, etc. So on. Some of the greatest jazz and R&B performers in the history of the music business, and to Broadway, and to WWF.
Your parents did a good job, Evan.
Thank you.
Because you're a good neshama, as we say.
Thank you. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds positive.
It means you're a good soul. That's what it means.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Like you don't know.
Appreciate it. I'm not the greatest Jew in the
Leo
world.
Rostin, the joys of Yiddish. Get it? It'll help.
Yeah, I need it. Anyway, Jim, anything you want to add? Any new shows? Anything you want to plug?
No, just happy Father's Day to everybody out there, and enjoy the rest of the day.
That's right. Happy Father's Day.
And wish me a happy birthday because it was yesterday. Go ahead.
We did at the top.
Yeah,
Happy 90th birthday to Mr. Big.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But weren't you
You
there?
don't look a day over 91.
Weren't you there at my bris?
That's right. 65, right? Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you can do what the fuck.
Too late now.
I don't
Yeah.
care. Wait, you see, now that makes me even tougher, don't it? Being my age, and still doing wrestling, still taking it, and in the fray. I don't sit back and just yell and scream like some of these wannabe managers. They don't know. I take it. I dish it out, and I take it.
If it were a street fight and I saw Mr. Big and someone like these 140-pound indie guys, I go with him.
Yeah.
No, really.
Sure.
I mean,
How about a 200-pound indie guy? I go against them guys, too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of these guys. Homicide was one of my trainers. Pete Sanchez was one of my trainers later on. Okay, Bam Bam Bigelow, Balls Mahoney, Homicide. Those are my three, and Chris Candido when he was able to get to the school. Okay, these are my teachers.
Yeah.
Okay, and even though they were a lot younger than me, I learned.
That's quite a lineage, no doubt. Ace Andrews, Super Nitro, Mr. Big, Jim Savali, yours truly, signing off.
Let's go.
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Happy Father's Day.
That all dead. The lines cut off inside my head. I left here like a broken man with no idea of where I stand. Oh, my mind clear. Oh, I shed all of my tears. Oh, now baby, I was just waiting here while you moved on. has already won. Oh, my mind clears. Oh.